Hey guys, happy Monday. Gather around my kitchen table. We are gonna have a chat tonight about a topic that I am working on for my mornings. And so we're gonna talk about why willpower doesn't work and 2 simple ways to get you back on track. So if you're tuning in from around the world, let me know where you're coming from. And if you're on the replay, just type in replay. And the reason I do this is so that more people get to see this. And I'm doing this late at night so that no one sees it live. That way I'm not so freaked out. So the last couple weeks, I did this morning routine, which I popped on here and talked about, where I plotted out my 5 days and exactly what I'm gonna do every morning. My first week, my grade was 65%. The last week, hey Sarah Jane, last week, I totally bombed my morning routine. You know, I'm training for this marathon, and so I was working through the Hanson Marathon method tonight, and and trying to figure out if I can still run the marathon in December 8th in Rehoboth, or if I'm gonna have to go down to the half marathon. And so I was kind of looking back in the books and the notes of stuff I've taken, and trying to figure out, like, why am I not able to actually execute and get this freaking training done? It's only 5 days of training. It's only like, I don't know, five miles a day, ends up being 50 miles a week. And so I'm on the 3rd week of trying to figure out why I keep on getting off track. So the solution is I need to plot my action items, like make a plan in the beginning of the week, and then surround myself with people that are the average of where I want to go to, right? Does that make sense? So like in real estate, my weekly thing, I was supposed to call like 100 people a week so that I make $50,000 a year. I can never make that happen. It just like doesn't work for me. And so when I found this book called Willpower Doesn't Work, I was like, yes, finally someone gets it. You can't just white knuckle your way to success. And right off the bat, he talks about people are just like plants. The only difference between people and plants is this. Well, first of all, people and plants are all the result of their environment. And the only difference is that people can change their environment. Now, plants can adapt. For instance, crabgrass. If you have grass that's really tall, the crabgrass will get as tall as the grass and shoot, heads out and seeds. But if you keep cutting grass shorter and shorter and shorter, the crabgrass actually lays down and has seed heads going down flat, even with the soil. Even at 1 inch, crabgrass can go to seed. So plants adapt, but they can't really change their environment. So lucky for us, if we're in a funk or in a rut, we can change our environment, but not by much. Not by much. I mean, if I would want to run a 3-hour marathon tomorrow morning, I couldn't just wake up and run a 3-hour marathon. In fact, when I started running in 2011, my cousins, James and Mark, were running, and I decided, well, I didn't even run a 5K, and I decided that I'm gonna run. And I asked them, what's the fastest marathon? And they said, I don't know, 2 hours, 10 minutes or something. And I thought, has anyone run like less than 2 hours? And so in my mind, right then, I decided I'm gonna run a sub 2-hour marathon. And so I was Googling how to run a sub 2-hour marathon. I mean, how stupid. I hadn't even run from one telephone pole to the next, and here I was planning how to run a sub 2-hour marathon. That just gives you a little bit of insight of how I think. Long story short, I ran 4 marathons. The fastest one was like 4 hours, 10 minutes, something like that. A half marathon, 1 hour, 40 minutes. But I pretty much bomb running all the time, and I still keep doing it. So I'm back at it again, and tonight I want to talk through this little thing I'm teaching myself how to become successful again, and how to figure out how to actually execute on this silly marathon. I was going to say stupid, but not silly. So the first thing is plot your items, surround yourself with good people, and then track results. So in my last 3 weeks, I tracked. The first week, I did pretty good, 60%. Week 2, I did terrible. I don't even have any good excuses for last week and why I bombed it. So after I looked at the results, I'm looking at this and realizing, oh, no wonder I can't keep up with the paces in this 18-week program, because the first 6 weeks I didn't do the action items on the training. So why would I expect that I'd be on track to keep up with these paces? Like silly. So I'm on week 3. I wrote out my plan again, and I'm surrounding myself with people that are doing better than me, kind of, sort of. I mean, I started this group. There's 3 of us now in this group that we are working on our morning routines. So if you want to join that group, send me a message and I'll add you to the group, and you can kind of slog along or suck along with us. But in this book, John Rhodes says that you will be the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. As it happens, we are also the average of the 5 people each of our 5 friends spend the most time with. Isn't that crazy? It's not just our 5 friends, but the 5 of our friends. For example, if your friend's friend gets fat, your chances of gaining unhealthy weight spikes dramatically. This is called a negative secondary connection, and it's often more dangerous than a negative primary connection because you typically won't see it coming. Whoa! So of your 5 inner circle, you should really be checking each one of those 5 to see how fat their friends are. Now that sounds terrible. But this is in the book. This is not me talking. This is this dude talking. Jim Rohn talks about that. All right, but in a more practical example, you aren't solely what you eat, but what you eat eats. Hence the recent push to provide livestock with better, more organic nutrition. And you know, it's a common fact that our food supply is nutrient deficient, and our doctors are telling us take supplements and to fill in the gaps. So if you have supplements that you love, good for you. But if you would like my advice and the ones I love, shoot me a quick message, or drop drugs in the comments. No, not drugs. I don't know, just something, supplements or carrot juice, something to get my attention. I'll reach out to you. So we really are impacted by our friends around us. And I'm trying to figure out how that works into this. Because if willpower doesn't work, like me just deciding I'm going to wake up and do these action plans, I'm going to like run my miles, go to the gym, journal, meditate, and make my bed. I am not pulling this off. So I'm trying to figure out how to get back on track. That's what we're talking about here. I got off track. Now I need to get back on track. And think about it. Maybe the most important step is tracking your results. Like you make the plan, and then after a week, you look at how well you did, and then you see how badly you suck. You might figure out how you can actually rewrite your plan. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like a 3-peat. Instead of 2 steps, just plotting it and surrounding yourself with the right people, you got to have, like, it's a cycle. It's an ever-going cycle. Plot your action. Do the week. And then track the results, and then adjust your plan. Round and round and round and round we go. Let me repeat this. I didn't realize how badly I sucked until I saw it on paper. It's crazy. Like I knew in my mind, looking back, the first 6 weeks, I'm like I skipped Tuesday. And then I slept in Wednesday. And I kind of always had excuses. And I was just kind of interested in doing the work. But I wasn't really committed. And now I'm committed. I am committed. I am white knuckle committed. See, that doesn't work. Willpower doesn't work. That's why I have to surround myself with people. That's why you guys are on here, and that you're going to comment and say, hey, Paul, did you do your stuff? Did you do your stuff? Now, the thing is, if half of you suck worse than I do, you're going to drag me down. But I'm betting that more than half of you are better than me. At least the half of you that are going to comment and talk to me. Actually, no one's going to talk to me. That's just how this works. So, that's it. To summarize this, and what got me kind of going into this is, where is this thing? Oh, I was talking to someone, I don't know, it was over the summer, and it was one of my friends. She was complaining about the guy she was dating. And she was like, Paul, all I want is I want to find someone. I don't need a perfect guy. I just need a guy who said, looks at me and says, you know, you are worth me getting my crap together for. Like, listen to that again. She's like, I just want to find a guy who looks at me and says, wow, you're worth getting my crap together for. And in my mind, I was like, well, I don't know what to do with this. But the way I took it was like, oh, maybe my kids are worth me getting my crap together for. My kids are worth me getting back on track for so I can show up for them. But then the most important part is, how about myself? Like, am I worth me getting myself back on track for? Like, am I worth it? So I can show up for people. I hope you found this helpful. If this was at all helpful to you, or if you were entertained, share it with at least one person. And I will see you again another day. Do you think I should call this Kitchen Table Talks with Paul? I think I should. Oh, speaking of Paul, my grandpa Paul, he sat on this chair. He sat on this chair for many, many years. He passed away like 18 years ago, and his name was Paul. In fact, when he died, all the Pauls were pallbearers. You see where this is going, right? And I have two cousins, Paul. It's Mena's Paul, it's Ferris's Paul, and me. And so at the funeral, Grandma was sitting at the head, probably on this very chair, actually, with the Amish bishops down each side, and they were planning the funeral. And Grandma said, hey, I want all the Pauls to be pallbearers. Ha ha ha, that was her little joke. And then the Amish bishops said, well, hey, Dan's Paul, meaning me, he's not Amish, he can't be a pallbearer. And then Grandma said, well, let me back up. So my family lived right next to Grandpa, and so we took care of him to the end, shaved him, bathed him, whatever. He had Alzheimer's, and we, taxied him around. And so Grandma said, well, if Paul's Dan's Paul, meaning me, if Paul can take care of him while he's alive, he can take care of him when he's dead. So that's the fabric I was cut from. Have a good day, guys. Be well and stay on track.